Here's the complete story of how Nirvana came together, from Kurt Cobain's small-town beginnings to the band that changed music forever. Origins in Aberdeen, Washington. Kurt Cobain was born in 1967 in Aberdeen, a logging town in Washington state. Growing up, he felt like an outsider, obsessed with art, music, and rebellion. He loved bands like the Beatles, the Melvins, and punk groups such as Black Flag. Chris Novoselic, born in 1965, was also from Aberdeen. His family were Croatian immigrants, and he too found refuge in underground music. Kurt and Chris met in the mid-1980s. A mutual friend who ran a rehearsal space, Buzz Osborne from the Melvins, introduced them. At first, Chris wasn't sure about starting a band with Kurt, but after hearing a demo tape Cobain recorded, later nicknamed Fecal Matter, he was convinced. Early attempts, 1986 to 1987. In 1986, Cobain and Novoselic began jamming together. They experimented with drummers, since finding a permanent one proved difficult. Their first consistent drummer was Aaron Burkhardt, but his time was short-lived. The group cycled through several drummers, including Dale Crover, the Melvins, Dave Foster, and Chad Channing, before the lineup solidified. Then entered Chad Channing, 1988-1990. By 1988, with Chad Channing on drums, Nirvana began recording and playing shows in the Pacific Northwest. They signed with the indie label Sub Pop, which specialized in Seattle's emerging grunge scene. In 1989, they released their debut album, Bleach. It was raw, heavy, and cost just $606.17 to record. Songs like About a Girl and Negative Creep hinted at Kurt's pop sensibility buried beneath punk aggression. Still, Kurt was dissatisfied with Channing's drumming style, and by 1990, the band parted ways with him. For the game changer, Dave Grohl joins, 1990. In 1990, while touring with Sonic Youth, Chris and Kurt heard about a powerhouse drummer named Dave Grohl, who had just left the hardcore band Scream. Grohl auditioned in Seattle and instantly clicked. Kurt and Chris later said they knew within 2 minutes that he was the perfect fit. This lineup, Kurt Cobain, Chris Novoselic, and Dave Grohl, became the classic world-changing Nirvana. High breakthrough, Nevermind, 1991. The trio signed with DGC Records, a major label. In September 1991, they released Nevermind, powered by the single Smells Like Teen Spirit. The album exploded, knocking Michael Jackson off the top of the Billboard charts. Grunge and alternative rock went mainstream almost overnight, with Nirvana leading the charge. Legacy from there. Nirvana became not just a band, but a cultural movement. Their beginnings, two misfits bonding over punk rock in a small logging town, stood in stark contrast to the global fame they achieved. Their rise wasn't just about talent, it was also about timing. The late 80s rock scene was dominated by polished glam metal, and Nirvana's raw, emotional sound felt revolutionary,